What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. It's time to take a look at some stock watch for various college basketball bubble teams. Now, the more we get into March, the closer we get. We'll start talking some bracketology every night. I'll be giving you updates on bubble teams, who's moving up, who's moving down, things like that. We'll start looking at that when we get into March and conference tournament play. But as right now, we're kind of getting warmed up for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this Bleacher Report article right here, talking about some various bubble teams, how they're doing, kind of if their stock's moving up or down, and kind of their outlook. All right, starting out the ACC, we've got North Carolina. Now, North Carolina, you would think they would be a lot better this year. Uh, RJ Davis is back, but as of right now, I really don't think they're in. I mean, look at that quad one right there, 1-10. Now they haven't really lost many bad games. They've just got one bad loss in the quad three quadrant, but they're going to have to beat some teams. They're going to have to upset some teams, maybe go on a run in the ACC tournament to get some help. I know ESPN has their metrics with them in, and I'd be all right with seeing them in because they're talented, but been very up and down this year. SMU, 19-6 on the year. Now, their quadrants kind of tell it all here. They've lost against the good teams, 0-4 in quad one. They've beaten everybody they should beat. So not really any bad losses, but they don't have any good wins, really. High quality wins. So that could help SMU that they don't have any bad losses, but it's going to come down to who are they measured against. You know, if you get down to for the last spot in, let's say you've got an SMU school with no good wins versus an Oklahoma school that, you know, is almost 500, I'd probably lean SMU there. All right, and then Wake Forest, 19-7, 2-6 against quad one. So they actually have a couple wins. I think Wake Forest is probably in, but not bad records here, minus North Carolina. North Carolina, 15-11, not near as good of a record as these two, but I think North Carolina has a higher upside. All right, let's move on to the Big 12 here. BYU, 18-8 on the year, 4-6 in quad one, taking care of business in the lower quadrants. Now, their quality wins as far as recently, they've beaten West Virginia, which is okay. Beaten Kansas State, that's a pretty solid win. And they've beaten Kansas. Kansas is in a free fall right now. BYU, I think, is in. Cincinnati, 15-10 on the year, 1-9 versus quad one. No games against quad three, 7-0 versus quad four. I think Cincinnati's probably out right now. They need some work to do. West Virginia, 5-7 versus quad one, 15-10 overall. They've got some losses in quad two, so I think they're out right now, but depending on how they do over the last, month of the season, West Virginia could trend up. All right, moving on to the Big East here. Villanova, now they have, I think, too many losses outside of quad one and quad two, which is only 3, but still, I think that's too many. I think Villanova's probably out at 15-12. Xavier, I think they've got a better chance of getting in just due to their losses being against quality opponents, being at 17-10, 1-8 against quad one. I would probably put them in over Villanova if it came down to that. All right, Big Ten wise, we've got Nebraska 17-9, solid record, but they do have loss against quad two and quad three teams. So that might come back to bite them depending on how many of the games they drop over the next month, up to conference tournament play. But if they can stay around that 10-loss area, I think they might be in. Ohio State 15-11, 4-8 versus quad one, but they're taking care of business in quad three and quad four. But that record, the closer you get to 500, the harder it's going to be to get in if you don't have super quality wins. So Ohio State might be out. All right, SEC was Arkansas 15-10. Once again, record slowly creeping to 500 status, and that's going to hurt them. They've been playing good as of the past month or so, but again, you look here, lost to Alabama, lost to A&M. You've got to get one of those wins over a high tournament team, a top 16 seed, top 16 team in the country, and lost to Alabama and A&M. That's just not getting it done. You're going to have to pull one of those out. All right, we've got Georgia 16-10, 2-10 versus quad one. They've taken care of business, but similar to Arkansas, except probably even worse, they haven't beaten anybody up top. 16-10, I don't think it's going to get it done. They're going to have a good month to close. Oklahoma 16-10 as well, but they've lost quad two and quad three games, so I think Oklahoma is probably out. Texas 16-10, same thing. All right, a lot of these SEC schools in the same situation. It depends on how many SEC teams the committee is probably going to want in. Texas is kind of hit and miss. They've got Trey Johnson. They can go off. They've got Arthur Kaluma, but some questionable coaching decisions from them. Lost to Vanderbilt, didn't do them any favors there. They should have won that one. And 4-8 against quad one, 3-2 against quad two. Texas, I don't know. They're going to need a good stretch as well Any team close to 500, you're not getting in if you're 500 probably. So you're going to have to take care of business. Vanderbilt, they got that one against Texas. That was key. Auburn and Tennessee, though, you got to be able to pull one of those out because you're kind of moving yourself above the other bubble teams, getting that win over Texas. That probably puts you in over Texas, but you got to get one of those wins against one of those teams there in Auburn and Tennessee. All right, mid-major wise, so these are some teams that if they don't win their tournament, might be in. We'll see. It's kind of been hit and miss with that before. We look back at last year, Indiana State missed out. People would have liked to have seen them in. Drake, 9-2 versus squad 3. I'm going to think that's probably going to come back to bite them because if you are a mid-major school, what you want when it comes down to this is your losses to be against good teams out of conference, but having those 2 losses is going to come back to bite them probably. San Diego State, 18-6, 4-4 versus squad 1, but again, losses in quad 2 and quad 3 might come back to get you. San Diego, they got a quad 4 loss. I don't see them getting in if they don't win their conference, but they should win their conference. VCU, 20-5. Now, they're more of a household name, so they might could sneak in, but again, you've got that one loss in quad 4 that could come back to get you in the end. But as right now, this is kind of the current bubble watch. Like I said, the closer we get to tournament season, I'll start putting on my own list instead of looking at Bleacher Reports. But I'll probably start creating that. So by the time March rolls around, we'll be ready to go. I'll reveal my current bracket. I'll try to update that every few days. When we get into conference tournament play, it's going to be changing every day. And I'll kind of give you some stock watch as well. But as of right now, this is what it's looking like. But slowly getting closer to March. If you're interested in talking more college basketball, be sure to subscribe. So when we do that, you'll be able to see it. But till next time, AG, out.